Glad that you were here. It was a big crowd today, presumably because you probably saw my letter earlier this week, but also because we have a wonderful guest speaker as well as the government. It's a great opportunity what you can do. So with all that being said, we're going to head ahead and get started. names are Gina Eli. Shizuka Nishimoto. Aiko But piano is going to be played by Diddy Girl. Reverently take refuge in the three. I take refuge in Buddha. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of the way to enlightenment within us, our highest aspiration. Be submerged in the depth of the dark, as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May we all together become units in true accord, free from the bondage of selfishness. In ignorance of culpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful teaching. Now we are able to hear and receive it, thus thoroughly understanding the true meaning of Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you, Judy. Please be seated. At this time, I'd like to welcome up to the podium Reverend Cyndi Yasaki to give the Dharma message.
If I could have everyone please join me in gospel. Then Vaidehi said to the Buddha, "World honored one, through the power of the Buddha, even a person like me is now able to see that land. However, after the Buddha's passing, all people, being defiled and evil, will be tormented by the 5 kinds of suffering. How then will they be able to see Amida Buddha's world of perfect bliss?" Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Today we are observing White River's June Shotsuki-Hoyo. Today we are remembering all those who have passed in the month of June and reflect in sorrow and gratitude to the contributions to the temple, their dedication to the Dharma, and their support of the Sangha. Today, I use a quote from the Contemplation Sutra, one of the 3 Pure Land Sutras at the core of the Jogi. In this sutra, King Bimbisara is thrown into jail by his son, Prince Ajatasattu. His wife, Queen Vaidehi, is eventually caught beating her husband and thrown in jail too. She then pleads to Shakyamuni Buddha for guidance, and the Buddha projects himself from Vulture Peak to Queen Vaidehi. The Buddha then instructs the Queen in contemplative practices to visualize Amida Buddha's Pure Land in her own path for enlightenment. During this instruction, Queen Vaidehi asks how the people living after Shakyamuni Buddha's passing are able to do contemplative practices with no direct instruction from the Buddha, as they too will be tormented by the 5 kinds of suffering. The 5 kinds of suffering are being born, getting old, becoming ill, dying, and parting from those one loves. Lies of instruction, of contemplation for these sentient beings, but ultimately reveals that all one needs to do to attain birth in Amida Buddha's Pure Land and become enlightened in that land is to say Nam Myoho Butsu. Today, I would like to discuss the 5th kind of suffering by sentient beings, that of parting with those one loves. It is for this last kind of suffering that we observe Shotsuki-Hoyo for every month and at every memorial service. Being parted from those one loves is very hard, whether it be with someone who is still living or someone who has passed. Today, it is of the latter in which I will speak about, as our monthly Shotsuki service reminds us of this suffering and why we turn to the Dharma. It has been about 10 years now since one of my great aunts passed away in June. I remember her passing because I was in Japan for a very short study abroad trip through the California State University that I was attending for undergraduate studies. I remember learning about her death after our class and thinking on the train to my family's house about how I thought she looked healthy this past December and how I didn't know about her being sick. As we learned at her funeral, she became sick in January and per her request did not want any of the extended family to know. I remember on that train ride in Japan of thinking about no longer seeing her again at family holidays in which she would host on occasion. No longer being able to eat or smell her delicious food. Hearing that laugh that was similar to my grandmother's, her sister. Not being able to see her dancing through the crowd of family members, making sure that everyone had their fill. And no longer hugging her goodbye when we left. I remember all of those feelings rushing through me as I sat in that train cabin across the Pacific Ocean. Though she was not a Buddhist, and thus the family did not observe a Shotsuki for her, I remember that this is the month of her passing, and my thoughts wandered to her. It still pains me to think of her, but I think that will always be true. It is something that I realize should not be forgotten. There is still this hole that remains after her passing that will never be filled. This is why I turn to the Dharma. And to help being in this human world, this is the suffering I and everyone else has. This is a suffering that everyone will continue to have for everyone they know and love. And this is why I think it is important to remember those who passed. Not to bring up their deaths, but remember their life and reflect on the Dharma. While reflecting, we are able to think upon Shinran Shonin's teachings. The founder of Jodo Shinshu understood that as a sentient being, he had the 5 sufferings too. Through his journey in Tendai Buddhism, Shinran Shonin tried his best to complete the contemplative practices Shakyamuni Buddha encouraged sentient beings. After not being able to complete these practices, the Venerable Master understood that he was a sentient being who was not able to tear himself away from these sufferings. Thus, he encouraged his followers to take refuge in Amida Buddha and say their name as the Buddha of immeasurable light and infinite life had vowed all sentient beings to be born in the land of bliss. Shinran Shonin encourages us to say Namo Amida Butsu, because the Buddha accepts us just as we are, with our sufferings and all. It is when we are born in Amida Buddha's Pure Land that we instantly become enlightened and we cease to be tormented by these 5 sufferings. In closing, please join me in Gospel as we say Namo Amida Butsu in gratitude to the Buddha of immeasurable light and infinite, to show us the infinite wisdom and compassion, and to remember all those who have passed. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo.
Thank you, Reverend Cyndi, for such a really thoughtful and important message. Please rise for Gotha on Mokusan 2 on page 153. 153. And then remain standing for the reading of the daily creed of Jodo Shinshu, which can be found on page 8. And once again, Judy Gardner will be playing the piano. Once again, we will read the daily creed of Jodo Shinshu, found on page 8. Realizing enlightenment is assured, and reciting the Nembutsu, I shall live my life cheerfully and positively, understanding the oneness of life and cultivating self-reflection. I shall diligently attend my life's tasks in gratitude. Recognizing the Dharma path, I shall help spread the teachings of the Buddha. Appreciating the Buddha Dharma, I shall respect and help others working for the good of society. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida. All right. We are at the point in our program where we welcome any first-time guests today. If you want to just like wave your hand and say hello. Thank you for coming. We're glad you're here. We hope that you come back to service next week. Are there any announcements that you would like to make? Yes, Bridget.
Good morning. I'd like to remind the Buddhist Women's Association members, if they wish to attend the virtual conference of the National Federation of Buddhist Women's Associations in October, please contact me before the end of the month so I can get your payment and send in your registration materials. Thank you very much.
Hi. Over in the foyer, there's a framed piece for Reverend Ward and Rona. So if you haven't signed it, please sign it before you leave or sometime today. And also there's a black booklet that's also for them too. So sign that too.
Hi everyone, thank you for your donations for the rummage sale. We're now looking for a few more volunteers to volunteer on the day of the event to help us sort things and get things set up. So if you're able to help, then we have a sign-up sheet that is on the kitchen door near the back door of the temple. Or you can let me know or Sharon know or really let anyone know and we'll set you up. Thank you.
And then I also want to recognize those who helped set up today's service, Ruth and Sarah, who did a lot of the hygiene setup. Where is Joan, who did the flowers and get the flowers up on the or out there and here too. Well, sure, get the flowers. But that's a good reminder that we're looking for folks to sign up to help get the flowers up. I know hygiene will bring flowers every week, so there's a sign in the hallway. For the rice, I think, as well as the flowers. So feel free to put your name down and we'll work with you to get what we need every week, okay? And then last but not least, obviously today is the picnic. And so, or the farewell picnic, quote unquote. It's not raining currently. And so, but we will have the program that starts here in the Hondo at 12 o'clock. Followed by lunch, which we will put some chairs outside, or some tables, chairs, tents, and all that stuff. And hope and wish that it doesn't rain. So we're gonna do our best, but if folks can, like Tessa mentioned, sign the booklet, sign the piece, that'd be wonderful, and then meet back here at noon in the Hondo. Okay. All right. Thank you everyone for coming today to today's service. Please come show if you haven't already, or show on the way out, and I'll see you at 12. Thank you.
Nice job.
Great job. I give you credit. You get the credit that you deserve. Oh.